Hey, how are you? Welcome back. It's me, Michelle Green. Welcome. I am so excited that you are back with me again this week for another night of Kingdom Builders Business University behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, what does that mean? This is a business school where we have hundreds of entrepreneurs that graduate every single semester. Now, we only offer 2 semesters throughout each year, and our 2 semesters run from January to May, or maybe graduating in June to from August to December. And those are the 2 sessions that we have: an undergraduate class and a master's class. And so this is kind of our way to let you have a little peek inside of what our life is like behind the scenes at KBBU. My name is Michelle Green. I am the founder of the company. I am super excited to be coming to join you every week on Wednesday to just chat a little bit about entrepreneurship and the things that we go through in our livelihood of being an entrepreneur, a business owner, someone who is, just here and doing our thing. So, welcome. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And tell a friend, share, like, subscribe, connect with us on all social media platforms, kb.michellegreen everywhere. Yes, so I'm excited tonight because I feel like tonight's subject matter is about how come it's so hard for us to get to a point where we stay consistent as entrepreneurs. Why is that such a hard thing for us in life? Why do we why are we challenged with being an entrepreneur and deciding that we're in sometimes and we're out sometimes? Sometimes we're good to go, sometimes we're excited, we're doing our thing, we are totally focused. And then other times we are completely out of it and we don't want to talk to nobody, we don't want to hear anything about business. And it's just like, oh my God, like what in the world? Why are you even talking to me right now about any and anything concerning business? Well, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Let's think about what it is that we are saying here. So, I was just actually in prayer this morning and I was thinking about, the scriptures that I read in prayer because y'all know Kingdom Builders is about keeping God first in his kingdom. So, if you didn't know, now you know. That's what Kingdom Builders is all about, building God's kingdom. And so, one of the things that I was in prayer and reading on today was about the strength of God. The strength of God in the scripture, which happens to be Psalm 21. I was reading in the King James Version, if you want to go back and read that. But I was just reading it, and it was saying about, how this king needed God's strength. And I was analyzing as I read this about how God was actually showing the whole dialogue of him encouraging and giving this king confidence that he didn't have before because he was afraid that his enemies was going to take him over. And he needed to be reminded of who he was. So I watched as I read the scripture and I went back and I read it again and I read it again. And I was like, oh my goodness. So is this how this thing goes? I already had been informed by some mentors of mine about the fact that your enemy is always after your identity. So let's just go ahead and put that out there that the enemy is always after your identity. And what does that mean? That means that whenever you're struggling with being the entrepreneur that you know that you are, you've already been established with by God in that. You have the gifts, you have the skills, you have the talent, but sometimes it just feels like, You just don't want to do anything business. You don't want to talk about business. You don't want to be about business. You don't want to have anybody say anything about your services or your products. Even though you might need to make money, you just kind of just want to let it all go and just be what it is. And you get frustrated and you get discouraged and you get down and out. And so, what tends to happen when that occurs is we lose our identity. We lose who it is that God says that we are. We forget the person that we have become. So let's just think about this for a second. In our entire life journey, whether we are an entrepreneur or even if we work for somebody, even if we are one of those people who, decided that we don't want to take the entrepreneurship lifestyle, it's absolutely okay, because what tends to happen is no matter where you are in life, even in children and young adults and teenagers, the issue is always going to go back to who you are. Who are you? And what is it that you forgot that you were? Who is it that you forgot that you were? What is it that you forgot that you were capable of doing? What is it that you forgot that you were supposed to have? So, who is it that you actually are is the real question at hand. As I began to read and dive deeper into that scripture this morning that I was reading, I was like, whoa, God, like, come on. This is just, it's such a simple thing, but at the same time, it's something that is so crucial to our well-being, and it's something that we so easily forget. Easily. I mean, just completely don't even have any consciousness about it whatsoever. And so I was just thinking about, how hard it must be for each and every one of us to remember who we really are. As I was reading it, I was thinking about myself. And I was like, Michelle, sometimes you feel like, you're on top of the world. Other times you feel like, you want to go somewhere and hide. I don't know if you guys realize that every person on the face of this earth has some kind of a challenge with their identity. I don't know if you've ever thought about the people who make the millions and billions of dollars, the people who are at the top of their field, their industry, the ones that are CEOs and CFOs and CMOs or whatever O's they are, any type of officer or director. Listen, they have to struggle with their identity too. Why is that? Like, where did that come from? What is that really? Where is it coming from? Like, where did we come up with this idea? It's just an internal system. The internal system of us realizing that we truly are a certain type of people. And the type of people that we are human beings. We are mankind. And with mankind, the thing about our lives is that we tend to go backwards a lot. We go backwards because every day that we wake up, most of us don't really do anything to remind us of who we actually are in the new day. We just kind of start our day, we go about our day, and we start working. And from the time that we wake up, we're thinking about the things that we got to do in that day, whether it's get some breakfast, wash some clothes, wash the dishes that you didn't do last night, or tend to the children, tend to the grandchildren. I don't know if you have kids in your house or not, or pets, tend to the pets. You got to take care of the household. Maybe you need to vacuum the floor or fluff the pillows or something that you need to do. And then it goes into your actual work lifestyle. So your work lifestyle is, what is it that you're good at? Are you actually giving it your all? Are you doing your best in your work life, in your gifts, your skills, your talents, the things that you have been actually paid for? and the things that you may not be getting paid for right now, but that you want to get paid for, especially if you are trying to build your business and become that entrepreneur that's taking things to the top of the ladder. So we get in this routine. We wake up, we begin to go about our days, we begin to do the things that we do, and we feel like, okay, well, I got this going, and I'm achieving some things in this day. I'm actually accomplishing, getting the breakfast taken care of, washing the dishes or the clothes, and putting on the food for this evening when I'm getting ready to eat later on with my family, or whatever the situation is. And we go through such a routine. Our routine is just like, okay, I'm in my flow. I got my flow going on. I'm doing my thing every day, right? But there is always this little subtle piece of ourselves that just dwindles away every single day because we forget who we are. We forget who we are, even though we have a routine, even though we are in a flow, even though we are in our mode. We focus, or we're not focused. It doesn't matter. We can still forget who we are. Reading that scripture, I began to reread it with putting my name in place of the him and the king that was being spoken about in that scripture. And what I realized is that I had completely forgot how most blessed I am, how most successful I am. And that's not to brag, but we do need to be reminded of how great we actually are, y'all. We have to have a reminder to have that kind of confidence to know that we are protected, that we are cared for, that we are loved, and that we belong to somebody. And that somebody is our creator. And I ain't talking about the universe, y'all. I'm talking about a being that created us out of spirit into flesh. So I just want to say, like, we need to really set some boundaries here with our lifestyle, some boundaries that would allow us to be able to write down every day something about who we are so that we can constantly have the confidence and the strength to keep going on throughout each day. This is so crucial to us because I was actually talking to my son the other night, and he was a little discouraged, actually a lot discouraged, and he's only 11 years old. He was so discouraged because he was saying, like, why do I need to be here? Why does an 11-year-old need to think about why he needs to be on earth? It's because every single person on the face of this earth has to have some reason as to why they're here. And in having that conversation with my son, we didn't go to bed till like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But that's the opportunity that you have as an entrepreneur. You don't have to worry about waking up the next day on anybody else's clock. You set your own schedule, right? Okay, that's an advantage. Check mark. However, comma, when I was talking to my son, it really allowed me to come into an awareness of how important it is for us to help our children to identify who they are and to help ourselves understand who we are as people. When we break down this whole system of just being a human, regardless of what background we came from, regardless of what race we came from, regardless of our mindset in our political or our religious beliefs, the bottom line is that we just need our own identity, regardless of how young or old, no matter what the situation. My son, 11-year-old son, needed to know who he was. And if we hadn't had that conversation and I had sat down and listened to him. And when my husband got off from work at like 3 in the morning, he actually came in and sat down with us because we were still in a conversation about who he is, and he joined in. And so, if we hadn't had that conversation with my son about who he is, then where would he be today? There are young people, there are middle aged people, there are children, there are babies that just don't have a sense of identity. We don't know who we are, and the more we don't know, the more we cannot begin to do the things that we have actually been already equipped to do. We cannot go forward in business or in any type of work, in a career. We can't go forward in our life and achieve anything without our own identity, without knowing who we actually are. It is so hard for us to be able to accept sometimes who we actually are. Sometimes it's so hard for us because what we have been told that we are is the person who other people have said that we are, not who we actually have sat down and thought about ourselves. Like, this is who I am. And take it or leave it, it's just who I am. How many times are we really truthfully honest with ourselves? How many times do we actually go internally and think about this on a very serious matter? Like taking the time out to really study. Do I like this? Do I like that? Would I prefer this? Would I prefer that? What do I like being around this person? Do I like being around that person? What is my style? What is my livelihood? What makes me joyful? I don't want to say happy because happiness is temporary and joy is permanent. So, what brings me joy? What puts a smile on my face? What do I actually have pleasure in doing? What is it that, really just brings about like so much creativity in my thoughts that I just feel like I'm exploding with ideas? Those are the kind of questions that we need to ask ourselves so that we can begin to learn about who we actually are. And we need to often study who we actually are. When we begin to open up that door to say, you know what? I really don't like doing this. I don't like hanging around these people. I don't really like going this place. This was just the type of beliefs that maybe a parent or a grandparent had, or a sibling, or somebody that we felt was really important in our life. But it's not really my belief. It's not really what I want to do in life. It has nothing to do with my joy. It has nothing to do with the things that bring me pleasure. So, why am I doing it? Why am I engaged? And why am I identifying with something that has nothing to do with what I really want and who I actually am? So, this is why it is so crucial that we begin this journey. In KBBU, we talk a lot about who you are. We help you to identify what it is that you have actually been purposed to do in the earth. And we help you to gain those things to support what it is that you have become once you graduate from our courses. And so, I just want to say, like, if you don't know much about anything, or if you're out there and you're struggling and you're trying to figure things out, start with the source of who created you. Start there. Start with the being that actually knows everything about you. Maybe you don't believe in God. Maybe you have a different type of religious background, and that's absolutely okay. But the thing is that we all have a higher power. We all have someone that created us and had us in their thoughts in order for us to come here to do something that we already were equipped to be. And I just want to encourage you tonight to get to know yourself, get to know the person that you are. You are a beautiful person. You are an intelligent person. You're smart. Did you know that? You were really smart. You're smart because you're listening to this KBBU behind the scenes. No, you're smart just in general, just for being who you are. Whether you know a lot or you know a little, you're still intelligent. You have a brain that works. You are important and you deserve to be exactly who you are and nothing less, nothing more, nothing less than just being you. So I just challenge you this week to take a step back. You don't have to always be in this mode of, routine, routine, routine. I'm doing stuff, but are you really going anywhere with it? Are you really achieving who you really are and what you were supposed to do and have? Are you actually receiving that? You know, a lot of times we actually are just going through the emotions. We actually are just providing a routine, a system that is in place where we just decide that, okay, this is all I know. This is all I understand about how I'm supposed to function every day. But the truth of the matter is that you can plan your life. And whoever you are, then it will help you to identify what it is that you are supposed to do. And that will help you to understand what you're really supposed to have. How many times are there people who are out here that have so many great things, but really aren't joyful about those things that they have? Maybe you're in a marriage and you're not joyful about your spouse. Maybe you have children and you're not joyful about those kids. Maybe you have grandchildren and you're not joyful about all these grandchildren. Maybe you have siblings and you are not joyful about your siblings. Maybe you have, I don't know, friendships that you're not joyful about having right now. You don't really want those kind of friendships anymore. Maybe you've grown from one type of friendship to a different type of friendship. Maybe you want a friendship where people can reciprocate what it is that you have given. And, they can give you and you can give to them. Or maybe that's not the kind of friendship that you want. Or maybe that's the kind of friendship that you're in right now, but maybe you want more. Maybe you want to take the friendship from friendship to something else. Who knows? But there are so many things that we already have. Maybe you have a place to live, but you're not really satisfied with where you are. Maybe you have a vehicle, but you don't really like it. Maybe you have transportation, communication. Maybe you have education. Maybe you have a business. Maybe you have, a job or something. Whatever you have, if you're not joyful about it, then let's go back to the original question. Who are you? And when you answer that question, then you can begin to see what it is that you are supposed to do. So then you can take a turn and a change in what it is that you are supposed to have. My 11-year-old son, he really just had me stop in my tracks and really just take inventory on who I saw him to be. And the things that he was saying about himself, it really shocked me because I was like, whoa, why does he think this about himself? Why does he feel like that he doesn't have a purpose for being on this earth? And that was very alarming for me. But me and my husband, we have been working with my son and we will continue to work with him that every day we get up, we identify who we are so that we can help him to see who he is. And like I said, in the scripture at the very beginning, when this king was talking to God about who he was afraid of and that he needed the strength of God to reassure him that he would be protected from his enemies. And God just began in that scripture to just plainly show the king in that scripture who he was first as God, as the creator. He talked about his glory, his majesty. He talked about the weight that he carries as the highest being. And then he transferred that thing into who the king was. And he talked about how he crowned this king with glory and majesty and honor and glory and majesty and honor and blessings and success and all of these things, that wealth and riches. I mean, he talked about this in this scripture to this king, that he would put a crown on this king and he would be crowned with glory, with righteousness, with majesty. And I started putting my name in there. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put my name in there because I need to hear myself say, this is who I am. But it shocked me because it was so different to actually say the same thing that God said about me, that he said about this king, that he actually believes about Michelle. He believes about Michelle and he believes about you. So what are you waiting for? We got to get to knowing who we are. We got to take a turn and think about, wow, what does God really say about me? Who am I really in God's eyes? Can you actually see from God's perspective? Or are you just out there just thinking like nobody cares about you? Nobody sees who you actually are on the inside. It's time now for us to change that. So I want you to get up and start thinking about who you actually are. Why were you created to be here? Just like my son said, what is his purpose for being on this earth? And if you're challenged with that, then listen, give us a call. Let's talk. Our number is 855-522-8552. You can email us and say, hey, Michelle, I want to have a conversation with you to further my education as a business owner. Let me have a conversation with you to see if God has given you any insight on who I am and what it is that I'm supposed to do. Those are the kind of conversations that we have at KBBU. We talk about every intricate detail. We have conversations about what you're dealing with and what you're going through in your life. We talk about the different things that you've already come through, the challenges that you may have had on the job or in your relationships, in your marriages, in your sibling relationships. We talk about that. We actually study those kinds of purposes and things that people have been created to be. But we cannot get to that if we don't uncover who you actually are. So if you are interested in being an entrepreneur, or maybe you're just interested in having a conversation, who knows where that may lead. But I am also a mentor and a coach, and I can help you in so many different ways. So if you are interested in coming to KBBU or just having a conversation at all, then listen, contact us at our website. It is www.kbbullc.com. Go to our website, click on the little button that says Let's Talk, So let's talk about your identity. Let's find out who you actually are. Allow God to come into your life and reveal to you this person that you don't know anything about. Because when I read that scripture, I'm telling you, I had a whole new epiphany moment. I had a whole new moment where I began to realize, like, I am somebody. I'm somebody that is important. I am somebody who is loved, who is cared for, and I have so many blessings, so many things to be joyful about because of who I was able to see that I am. And I want you to experience that same thing. I want you to be able to say, I know who I am, and I know what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, and I am going to have those things. We have to change. We have to grow, but we cannot keep making the same mistakes, the cycle of excuses, the mindset of just sitting around and doing nothing and going nowhere. We have to make a change, and you can make a change tonight. Go to the website www.kbbullc.com. Click on again, let's talk, and let's talk about your future identity. Again, my name is Michelle Green. I hope that tonight you were able to pull some nuggets from the behind the scenes of the KBBU entrepreneur lifestyle. I am here to help you in any way that I can. I am a financial advisor. I can help you with different types of financial advice. I can help you in the credit arena. I help you with money management skills, things that actually are important that go right along with your regular life, things that you know that you're going to have to deal with, things that you may not want to deal with. That's what we do at KBBU behind the scenes and in the front, in the forefront. We help you in every way that we can. We have a community of over 700 people. We have a community on Facebook at kb.michellegreen. We also have over 10 to 30,000 people that we collaborate and network with day in and day out, all over the place. It's probably way more than that, but I'm just giving you some kind of a range so you will understand. Like, we're no small stuff here. We want you to come to us and allow us to help you to identify what it is that you are supposed to be, who it is that you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to do, and what you're supposed to have. Because everything that we have is not necessarily the right thing. Everything that we have is not necessarily for us. And sometimes we just need to take a moment and step back and just realize, like, hey, we need to do something different here. I would love to help you in any way that I can. My coaches, we have coaches here that can also help you that have special expertise. We have Coach Carl Mitchell, who helps with business setup. He's a radio personality. You know, he has all these different businesses that he is specializing in. Then we have Coach Dr. Tina. She is in the media arena. She can help you with podcasting. She can help you with any type of social media. She can help you with pretty much anything that will put you in the media light, the spotlight. Then we have Coach Preston. Coach Preston is our territory coach. He can help you with vacationing, maybe that getaway that you need to take so that you can kind of relax and settle down and think about, you know, what it is that you're supposed to be doing after you have established who you are, you know, and maybe you need to just take a vacation so that you can think about who you are, you know, on a real serious basis. And that is something that Coach Preston can help you with. And we even have Coach Martino Bryce, and Martino is our encouragement coach. So he's there to keep you encouraged and to share some life stories with you that will blow your freaking mind, okay? It will blow your mind because Martino has been through a lot, but he is still steadily on pace to be who it is that God has called him to be. We have people galore that are right here, ready and willing and able to walk you right through life. Whether you are entrepreneur, an employee, whether you just want to talk, whether you just want to have a conversation about your life, we can direct you to the right person, even in mental health, even in, maybe you just want a therapist. Maybe it's just somebody that you need to talk to in a different field. Whatever the case, that's what we do at KBBU. We do this in all of our businesses, but especially at KBBU, we offer everything business and personal. So if you're interested in connecting with us, joining with us, finding out who you actually are, go ahead to the www.kbbullc.com and click on the Let's Talk button today. Do it today. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't say, I'm going to call tomorrow or I'm going to click on it tomorrow and get in touch with them. Do it right now. Do it right now and watch what God does in your life to help you to find out who you actually are. I pray that you all be blessed by listening to this message tonight, this video. I hope that you will share and like and tell a friend, and that you would go to our social media and connect with us and let us know who you are and tell us, put it in the comments. Tell us a little something about who you are and what it is that you would like to do and what it is that you would like to have, because we are interested. Listen, guys, until next week, this is Michelle Green signing off for another week of KBBU Behind the Scenes. Thank you for listening.